it tonight. That was awesome. Give me a second. And props to you if you know the song that I pulled that title from. But I guess we'll get started in a little bit. Like before, the title kind of gives away what we're going to talk about real quick tonight. Try and do it off screen since you guys always complain. But yeah, sacrifice. I think no, I definitely know that the concept of sacrifice that we use today in this day and age is nothing like what they talk about in any scripture you read from any religion on earth. I think we all can come to that small agreement, I think. Or at least I hope we can. So, what are we talking about? What about sacrifice? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to explain. After this. So, what I am essentially talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Bob. Say hi, Bob. Bob says hi. He's purring. I don't know if you can hear that. He's kind of loud when he purrs. Oh, did you hear that? Yeah. Are you performing? Yeah. There you go. Good boy. Anyways. This is a very touchy subject for me. You like my hair? You like it? Yeah. Because I believe you should sacrifice. But here's the thing. I think the universe shows at an essentially core level, a very core level, that you need to sacrifice for what you want. I don't think it would be a alchemical law. I don't think it would be a hermetic law if sacrifice wasn't a part of this life. But I think the concept of sacrifice that they talk about in even such things as Christianity and Judaism and hermetic law, alchemical law, like whatever you wanna put to that, right? Hi. I truly believe that the concept of sacrifice in that sense is not the concept of sacrifice that they feed to us today. I truly believe that in my core. Today, it's you got to take the lumps. You gotta deal with the bullshit. Which, to a degree, I think we can all agree to that. Like, you got to, but you're forced to do it in such a way, right? And stay with me for this. You're forced to do it in such a way in this day and age where if you don't comply and you don't mold yourself into the type of person that they like, you're out. You got no chance. There is no concept and no openness to genuineness and authenticity. They will not allow you to be yourselves. That's half the reason I piss everyone off. Because I refuse to be anything less than genuine and authentic, because my existence is nothing but being disabled. It is nothing but being genuine and authentic to people because I have no choice. I There is no choice. I have to show up as myself. I cannot accept less. And that genuine and authenticness has led me to do some fucked up shit in this life, let me tell you. But there is a core essence to the universe, to the flow of the damn universe, that if you want something to change, you have to be willing to give up everything if that's what you truly want. That's the concept of sacrifice. It doesn't come down to you have to sacrifice for her or for him to sacrifice your own authenticity, who you are, just to satisfy somebody else. It sounds grade school, it sounds bullshit, but the universe flows so much easier for everyone when they are genuine and authentic. It doesn't mean you got to be stuck in your head about, oh, this happened to me and that happened to me and blah, blah. Zip it. Everybody goes through shit. It's about being willing to show up and be accountable and deal with that bullshit and realize where you're at in the cycle so maybe you can get ahead of it. Because you got to think about it. There is something to the repetition of the universe. Everything goes through cycles. Even as much as spirituality drives me nuts in this day and age, remember, I keep reminding you, the shit they go off this day and age is based off a 1976 book. So how much can you really rely on other than what they admit comes in from ancient history and lore and understanding and belief? You can't. And they throw in some Jungian and Nietzsche and to make it sound good and make it reputable. But when it comes down to it, the only thing authentic about tarot, right? The only thing authentic about tarot is that you use pareidolia. Remember, the ability to see images in clouds. That is pareidolia at its finest. When you can look up in the clouds and you see Mickey Mouse or you see Donald Duck or whatever. If you see the thumbnail, that was tonight's sunset. Tell me what you see in that. That's pareidolia. That's why tarot is never wrong. But the concept of sacrifice goes back way beyond that, right? That part is ancient. Every religion has something about you have to sacrifice. But there's something about the way they make you sacrifice in this day and age that is completely against the flow of the fucking universe. The sacrifice they're talking about is the sacrifice to your family and your children. It's not to the individual, it's not to the wife, it's not to the husband, it's the family. What are you willing to go through for them? What are you willing to sacrifice on their behalf? That's what sacrifice is about. Because back then, civilization wasn't big. It was small. Tiny. The sacrifice they ask you to make today is sacrificing your well-being for them. They want to take away your idea of sovereignty. That's their idea of sacrifice today. What are you willing to do to stay relevant? What are you willing to do to keep your job? They want you to lose all sense of sovereignty. All sense of sovereignty. And because they do it to you, it's a trickle-down effect. It's a generational trauma, if you will. Right? But that's not the idea of sacrifice that they talk about. That's only industrial age on. That's all the bullshit that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and everybody when they got together in what 1920, 1930, whatever, and they said this is how society's going to be. That's the uncomfortable truth, unfortunately. But the true meaning of sacrifice, the absolute true meaning of sacrifice, is what are you willing to give up for what you really want? Because remember what they say, at least in alchemy and hermetics, right? For everything given, something must be taken. If you want a new life, that means your old life has to be taken from you before you can have that new life. That's what sacrifice really means at the end of the day. It's not for who enslaves you, who you work for, even though they want it to be you sacrificing for them. It's what are you willing to sacrifice for yourself so you can have a better life for yourself and the ones you love? That's the real question.